Chapter 9. It was the first day of summer, and I had my full-time job at a local Mexican restaurant. My mom went out and bought the tent for the backyard. It was so Josh and I could sleep outside. But since he had to get nature in the system, Ma made me too. Knowing good and well, I don't like to go outside in the dark. That's only because mosquitoes bite and hell, it be out. It just be out of me. And I don't know. I don't know how they can even see me in the dark. So I was convinced to sleep outside that night anyway. Every little inch that we went laying in, it was taking up by radio, CDs, food, blankets, pillows, and also alcohol, bug spray, and pads. Just cushions everywhere, pillows everywhere. We were stuffed, yet comfortable and cozy. Josh had to leave his cell phone. Josh had a list of all the things he should look out for. The types of ground, trees, the sky. Since it was dark, we mostly looked at the moon and the stars. That night, we saw our first shooting star. I wished for a good life. He wished for the love of his life. His cell phone rang 6 times, give or take. But he never answered it. That night, he opened up with me. He told me deep, dark secrets and passions. He said he wanted a companion, but not one that stuck up on him or insecure with him or himself. A person that would love him and understand a part of him that he barely shows anyone. He said he wouldn't mind a female older than him. He just wanted someone he could really love. Even though he only was in high school for 1 year, he looked back on it as if it was his whole life. He talked about how he only had sex a couple times before he came to high school, and now he has no clue how many times he even had sex, and barely with who, and gets head anytime he wants. But it was just then he realized he wasn't happy. I remember the tone of his voice very clearly. He was falling into depression. Maybe 1 or 2 females he really liked, but had to let them go, so he knew they weren't meant to be. Around 3 in the morning, we fell asleep, and the way Josh talked to me and told me everything that really disturbed him, he was looking for something, a love that family just couldn't give him. Well, I couldn't. I love my baby brother, and it's emotionally sinking in a puddle. All I could do was let him know that he could always talk to me about anything, and I would not say a word to anyone about anything. And boy, did he tell me some things. The next day I woke up around 11 and I was late for work. I slipped out the tent and walked into the back door. Mom was sitting in the kitchen drinking coffee, talking to someone. She took the phone off her ear and said, "I called your job already," and I said you need to take a sick day. Then she got back on the phone and pointed to the stove. She had made breakfast, and I ate and took a plate out to Josh. He was awake on his cell phone, returning all the phone calls. He didn't answer yesterday. He got off the phone and said, "Want to go to a party?" I said, "Sure. I'm always up for parties." It was actually Saturday night. So, we both had to go out and get fit. It was Saturday. I wouldn't say 4. I drove Josh to the mall, and we went into a store, and I bought a skirt, and he bought a shirt, and matching blue. knee-high socks. We went to another store, and I got a shirt and a purse, and he got a pair of some new name brand shoes and shorts. We had about 2 hours to the party, so we just wandered around the mall and bought a couple CDs and a little bit more clothes. I had to start getting clothes for next year. On the way to the party, I ended up picking up Derek at the last moment, but it was cool. It was this girl's birthday party, but it wasn't on her birthday. When we walked in, might I say, we were so fresh and so clean. When I looked around, I thought we were at a baby party because at least 6 people had kids. And to me, even though the party was basically in the dark except for the light for the DJ, I could see no boys. It was really lame for the time being. They had a lot of food, and that was untouched. The drinks were tough because it was so hot. I didn't really dance because I had a skirt on, and the DJ had whack mixtures of music. He hasn't even been a DJ for long. About an hour and later, people started coming in. And the girl's party that was 4 said she didn't even know them. So they were friends of friends. Every once in a while, I saw Josh and Derek making signs at each other about girls. But mostly, I didn't say anything. About an hour and a half later, someone brought weed out, and there was this one boy that kept placing the lighter in front of his mouth, making his gold shine. And there was this one boy that beat all golds on the top and platinum on the bottom. And after the worst party of all of us agreed that we've just been to, we just went home. A week later, Ma had a surprise road trip for us. We went to Las Vegas. Everything is so cheap because they want you to spend your money on gambling. And we sure did that. We drove there, and Ma and I switched turns so we wouldn't have to rent a hotel. It took 2 days though. When we got there, Ma rented a really nice room for one of the top hotels. She had a connecting room, so either Ma could have her own room or Josh. Ma and I ended up having our room so Josh and I could sneak out during the night. So that night, we got there. Josh went out and got some food and to bring some back. But by the time he came back, Ma and I were knocked out. So he ate basically all of it in his bed by himself. I woke up around 4 that morning and ate some of the Chinese food Josh had brought back. Well, the leftovers anyway, and I went to the bathroom, and I'm guessing when I flushed the toilet, I woke Josh up. He said, I saw these stores around the corner. Feel like going? I said, sure. And I grabbed my purse and walked out. Everything stays open till the crack of dawn, so we went in a lot of stores. We went into the tattoo parlor, and Josh said proudly, I'm going to get a tattoo. I said, boy, you know Ma would kill you. And all he said, not if she doesn't find out. So without accepting my reason of not getting one, he ended up getting one. Joshua tattooed across his shoulder blade. He said, getting tackled on the field hurt worse than that. When he was done, it looked good. But I knew Ma would see it one of these days, and also I knew when she did, all hell would break loose. But I wasn't going to say anything. Next, we went into this laser tag room. It was $10 per person, and we got our money's worth. The points was to shoot, and the other team or the person with the laser tag and not get shot. We stayed for a good hour. When we left, they gave us our score. Josh snatched it from me before I could even see it and said, I lost, but when I found the score, he actually lost big time. We worked up appetites, and we went there, so we went to a small restaurant We both ordered steak and eggs, and the only difference was he puts ketchup on his eggs. He saw some do it, and then he tried and did it every time he ate eggs. Ew. By the time we got back to the hotel, it was almost 6:30. When we got into our room, we were discovered that neither one of us had the key. Josh said he got one in the front desk so I could rest. By the time he had came back, Ma opened the door and then asked, "What were we doing outside?" I said, "Getting breakfast. Josh is about to come back with the key." So she let me in and she went in my room. When Josh came back, Ma said, "How was breakfast?" Josh looked at me with an evil eye and said, "I told her." Ma was like, "You just went to breakfast, right?" She looked at both of us with this mother look and said, "Where else did you go, Josh? And why are you holding your shoulder like that?" He just said, "Nowhere, and it's sore from football." That day, we visited our uncle, Ma's brother, and his second wife. They have 2 kids. My uncle has one from the first marriage. That wife died of AIDS from an affair. We went to the house way north from where we were. His house was dirtless, and the youngest child was about 8, and the oldest was 14. They had plastic on the tan couches, and there was not one piece of dirt or stain on their tan and white floor. Josh was afraid to even thinking he was going to mess up anything or knock anything over. Sometimes something special. Everything looked valuable and expensive. Josh even said their toilet had some sort of gold on it, and it matched the legs of the old-time tub and the faucet in the sink. He said not only did he flush the toilet, he cleaned it and wiped off everything he touched. We drove back to the hotel, and Josh vacuumed and washed the windows of the car when we got to the gas station. We were starving because we did not dare eat off their plates. They were silverware, even though Ma didn't even care. So when we got to the Italian place, Josh got spaghetti. Ma the whole time was talking about my uncle's wife and her track showing weave, and that Josh was making contact with this girl across the restaurant that looked like she was 30 something. So my attention was split between Ma complaining about her sister-in-law and laughing at Josh blowing kisses. When we left, we went straight back to the hotel. We only had 2 days till we went back home. So in that time, we went shopping and sightseeing. We only had a week before school was back, and Josh looked forward to making that. And I did too a little. I guess because he got along with more people than I did. When we got back home, the first thing we did was check our answering machine. There were more messages for Josh than me and Mom put together. Girls worried about him and where he was. About the hour after everyone got settled, Josh went straight to Derek's house. It was about 3 p.m. He stayed the rest of the day. I went to the mall and the Met with some girls, but of course Derek had a girlfriend, so Josh talked to both of them. One girl he said he liked and got her name and number. Her name was Kalisha. They never officially went out, but I remember she was getting obsessed at one time. She called me to see how she can get him to ask her out. I just said, "My name is Bennett and I'm not in it." That was his relationship, and he's the only one that can deal with it. She didn't go to the same school, but when school started, she showed up and told people that she was pregnant with Josh's baby. Josh knew it wasn't true. She just wanted other girls to stop talking to him. Josh was getting mad because girls were getting mad at him because Alicia found his friends' numbers and started trying to talk to all these girls, and of course saying she was pregnant. She finally moved to North Carolina, but once in a while, I see her name on the caller ID.